Yo, one, two, three, leave it at that. Hey, today we're doing the Trilogy Rule on Gaming Talks. Hey guys, what up? It's MoonLight Lotus here. And we also have a guest on the show, Claire. She's going to join us with talking about the Trilogy Rule. Now, the Trilogy Rule is that any book, movie, game, even some TV series should be 3. 1, 2, and 3. Don't go past it. 3 games, 3 books, 3 movies, 3, series. When it comes to TV. That's all you need. You have your introduction, you have your middle conflict, and you have the end that rounds it all up. And hopefully along the way, it's a good adventure. Now, each individual part will have its own beginning, middle, and end, but it's all connects to one big story. 1, 2, 3. And today we're going to talk about why games should stick to the Trilogy Rule. This way games don't get bled out, like Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty.
Hi everyone out there in YouTube land, this is Claire, and as always coming to you loud and proud, taped from my fortified bunker in the middle of the set. Oh, I started in my normal intro, sorry guys, force of habit. Well, today is kind of a new thing for me, as I've been asked by MoonLight Lotus to come over to their channel and talk about the Trilogy Rule, which is a basic rule when you come to make a series that you should kind of wrap it up nicely in the, 3 complete parts, or, the titular trilogy. Now, first you have to kind of define what a trilogy is, and that's really the easy part. A trilogy is a story that contains 3 separate but linked stories, and perhaps a couple of the best examples in gaming would be the Halo and Mass Effect franchises. And I know what you guys are saying, that Halo is way past the trilogy mark, and that Mass Effect is about to do the same thing with Andromeda. But I'm honestly going to guess that that's the start of a whole new thing in a galaxy that's 2.5 million light years away, so it probably has very little to do with the actions of Commander Shepard. And then Halo shifted away from the Covenant War, which was the crux of the original storyline. And now they're over onto some Forerunner silliness and some Spartan betrayal, kind of, sort of, but not really. But their core storylines all fall within a literary element that's been around since people first climbed out of the primordial ooze and learned how to communicate, called the hero's journey. Now, the entire trilogy is an arc of the hero's journey itself, which is broken down into 3 separate parts or acts, and each of the parts of the trilogy have to contain a smaller copy of the hero's arc. And the first part contains the intro into the hero's world and the call to action, which would be the attack on the Pillar of Autumn to the destruction of the First Ring, and then the attack on Eden Prime to the battle with Sovereign for Halo and Mass Effect, respectively. Oh yeah, spoilers for 17-year-old games. Forgot to mention. God, has it been that long? Jesus Christ. The second act contains the meeting of a mentor, the first challenge, a major temptation, and then the hero's darkest moment. Now, this is kind of where Halo bucks the system by making most of this character development about the Arbiter rather than Master Chief, where the first challenge for the Arbiter is going through the Covenant rite of becoming the Arbiter, to the temptation of the traitor, and the darkest moment realizing that he had been lied to, and the great journey was really just the genocide of all sentient life in the galaxy. Whereas Shepard's first challenge, and I'm doing air quotes here, and you can't see him, is literally to be murdered by being thrown out of her ship. Yeah, I play as FemShep, so sue me. And being dropped through Atmo of a nearby planet. Then her darkest moment would have to be the suicide mission, which, depending on how well you played, may or may not have any survivors at all. Act 3 is the final conflict and the return to the mundane, or normalcy, if you would prefer that term, which in Halo was Chief and Arbiter teaming up to destroy the Final Prophet and the Ark, and then eventually getting stuck on the ship and going back into hibernation, into cryo sleep, where is basically exactly where you found him in the first place, in the very first scene of the very first Halo game. And for Shepard, It's obviously going up against the invading Reapers and going through a horrible, horrible Scantron test ending. Do I want A, B, or C? Which was exactly what they promised us it wasn't going to be, but I digress. And that's why the 3-part arc is best when dealing with stories, is because between the arcs there's this thing called escalation, which means that for the story to continue, the threat to the hero needs to get more intense, more sinister. But at a certain point, the escalation gets to be kind of silly and convoluted, honestly, in my opinion. And yeah, I'm looking at you, Star Wars, with your planet-sized Death Star that can now blow up 4 planets at the same time and remarkably has the same weaknesses. And one would think that they would have learned not to put X-Wing size holes that go straight through the reactors from the first 2 times. But, you know, I'm not an Imperial engineer. And that, guys, is exactly why that story arcs should be contained. And, hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me. I appreciate it. And I know Lotus appreciates it, too. So why don't you go ahead and check out some of their videos, and then do me a solid and go down, and I'm sure Lotus is going to put a link to my page in the description, so go ahead and check that out. And thanks for tuning in, and hopefully I'll be catching all of you guys on the flip side.
Hey guys, so that was Eclair talking about the Trilogy Rule, and that's right. Check out my channel and check out her channel. Unboxings, some commentary, you know, the good stuff. Go check that out. Now back to the Trilogy Rule. Now the Trilogy Rule can be bypassed by very few things, and that's having a universe. See, 3 games I can think of, like, no, not even 3 or 4 really. Star Wars, Star Wars, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Mass Effect. These are games that can get past the Trilogy Rule because they have a universe. What they did is they established a lore, a background. You have different creatures, people, histories, wars, food, cultures in general, and you just take aspects of them and you form a new story. You use these cultures, this lore, as your information for your stories, and you make a new one. It's why every time there's an Elder Scrolls game, they just pick a new place. There's Hammerfell, Daggerfall, Somerset Isles, Skyrim, my favorite, of course. And as I said, you just pick a new place. You add, if it's a new place, there's new lore. That's bound to be a lot of people interested in your game. There's new lore and all that, and you just make a story for it. With the Fallout series, the story is basically the mankind shot themselves in the foot. Everything's blown to hell. Where the survivors at? All right, we've seen Pittsburgh, Nevada, a small part of Utah. Well, not Utah, it was the Grand Canyon. We've seen DC, we've seen Boston, and every time we go to these places, it's something new. It's a new experience. It's all right. Is our favorite faction there? There's a new faction there. What kind of weapons are they using? If you've played New Vegas, you know about the Crimson Caravan. When Fallout 4 was coming out, I heard it was in Boston. All right, cool. Is the Crimson Caravan in Boston? Did the Crimson Caravan have a branch in Boston? That's something I would like to know. All right. Did Deathclaws get over there too? All that kind of stuff. But that's things we look for in a universe. That the Fallout universe has its own lore, and all they have to do is mix, match, put it together, give it a story. Each of the main characters has their own thing going on with them. So it's never really been the same main character more than once. Like one time was the parent, then their kid was the main character in the next game. And then you have the courier and the lone survivor, all that. And that's great. This way, our main character isn't being recycled. Only thing that's being recycled is the lore, and it's not being overused. It's being used properly. This is why I say having a universe can help you bypass the trilogy rule. Like honestly, if every Fallout game took place in one state and they did story-based DLCs, and each of the story-based DLCs took place in a tiny part of another state, then they're building more lore and connecting the dots more and more. And as long as they keep the story together and make sure it all connects and don't break their own story chain, it works. It works just fine. Now, sorry, y'all. The Mass Effect Andromeda is not coming out. There's a Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. 3 didn't have the most satisfying ending, but yeah. When you think of Mass Effect 3 ending, what happened was sometimes in life, no matter what you do, how hard you try, how much you prepare, things just won't go your way. And that's what Mass Effect 3's ending was, really. But Mass Effect 3 is now that's a trilogy. They did their thing. Now they're on to Andromeda. If Andromeda 1 is good, I expect there to be a second one. And if the second one is good, I expect there to be a third one. A trilogy. 1, 2, 3. These are games that can get past this. They have established lore, and they're using this lore. They're just mixing and matching, putting a nice story together, well packaged, and there you go. Now, there is one game that I don't understand how they failed this, but they really did. And that was Assassin's Creed. Alright, Assassin's Creed. The gist I've always gotten from the game was Templars trying to take over the world. Alright, there's a group of assassins from the past who was fighting them, now it's the future. And your character is the dude. He's a part of that bloodline, and you're going back in memories and finding shit and doing shit and correcting the past, I guess. Something like that. But somehow the game has gone dry, boring, and they've broken their storyline by killing the main dude off and replacing him. Doesn't work that way, buddy. It doesn't work that way. They didn't do that successfully. And so it ruined it. Assassin's Creed has its own universe. You have to understand this. A game with a universe is a game that has the ability to bypass the trilogy rule. That it doesn't need to be bound by a trilogy rule in order to stay good. But for some reason, they just couldn't do it. I don't get it. I don't get it. They dropped the ball big time. They just bloop, bloop, bloop. They dropped it. But yes, this has been the trilogy rule. There are some games that should just stick to it and keep it simple. 1, 2, 3, go to another idea. There are some games that can bypass it successfully with flying colors and have a very strong, dedicated fan base. And then there are some games that along the way, they drop the ball. But this is Gaming Talks, and we talked about the Trilogy Rule. What it is, why you should follow it, what games have followed it good, and what games have bypassed it. So now we're at the end. Time for our daily question. Do you believe the trilogy rule should be more encouraged? Personally, I do. I think that if it were encouraged more, less great games would become whack and corny. And we will also have more games that are good. Because people will make games and they'll get to like the 6-1 in the series and it'll suck, but have some good features that be great in other games or in a new theme or a new light in general. So I do believe that we should encourage this more. You also answer this question on the Twitters, the tweet at MoonLight Lotus 1. Just put the name of the episode, I'll respond back. Let's chit chat. Let's talk about it. Talk about it in the comments. Leave a like, share around with your friends, see what they think. See if they know about the Trilogy Rule. And if they don't, put them on this Game and Talk series, boy. You'll learn something. MoonLight Lotus here. over and out.
It's MoonLight, Lotus, from up the reader support it. MoonLight, Lotus, is games of friends and you know it. Notice how this upvoted and make sure you comment and share with your friends and homies. We out. It's MoonLight, Lotus, y'all.